What's up, guys? Back again. We're on Hip Hop Battles HHB, and we have a very, very special guest from California. He's going to battle in Loteria event, and also very, very special. He has a huge creativity. He's going viral. Well, we are going to talk about a lot of things. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. We have Jack in the house. How's everything going on, my man?
Going good, man. Like I said when we were talking right before, man, life is lifing, but it's a good time, man.
Exactly. Are you excited about Loteria? Because it's going to impact a lot, a huge impact.
I think so, yeah. Clearly, yeah, I'm excited, but when we were talking about it even right beforehand too, I'm just going through the card. I'm like, damn, this card is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Pure fire. So we're going to talk about that as well. However, I wanted to ask you the very first question that I always ask to every single guest, and it's very important to me and for the audience to know you better. So, what was your very, very first contact with hip hop in your life?
That is a good question. In my life,
Yeah.
shit, because that takes it even back from before, like what really got me into it. It's like in my life.
Exactly.
I mean, it had to have been when I was like a kid, like from when I could even remember the first just memory of my life or whatever, 4 or 5, and just hearing music on the radio. And that's not to say that like I wasn't like I was just drawn right to it or anything, but you hear it on the radio all the time. Some of the songs, and like it had to have been like maybe it was like R&B, but it was the things they were playing back in like 98 or 97 or whenever I was 5 years old or something, for whatever reason, I'm thinking like TLC, No Scrubs is like something that played, Waterfalls. That's not even hip hop. That's just R&B, but they're so closely connected.
Exactly.
Hip hop specifically would have to be starting somewhere like, weirdly enough, I don't have a memory where it stuck with me outside of like Eminem, and when my dad showed him to me when I was like 8 or 9 years old or something, and that's like that type of hip hop is what I got, I guess, like shown first. But I feel like I would have heard some stuff on the radio, just nothing stuck with me. I guess like Will Smith was popping back then, but
and
you know.
And did you have any kind of contact or relationship with other elements like breakdance, graffiti, DJs?
Yeah, actually, I beatboxing.
Wow, good one.
Yeah, that's actually what got me more into hip hop, at least in high school, where Modest Yahoo had this track where at the very end of it he would beatbox, and I was in band, so I had like the natural understanding of rhythm and music and stuff. And I had a friend at the time who was like, you should learn how to do this. And I ended up doing it and then performing it at one of the talent shows for our school and like winning second place. And it was a whole thing. It was cool. So and then, people would be like, oh, you should beatbox and like rhyme over it. And I was like, but I don't know how to like really rap like that. And then eventually I did do that once I like applied everything and learned how to write a little better. So, that would be like the other element. I always wanted to learn how to break dance. That would have been cool.
Yeah. And did you ever battle doing beatboxing?
No, actually, when I was doing it, like there wasn't a lot of people that like there was Rozelle was one of the big ones that
Exactly.
like he was famous for, and then I learned about Dougie Fresh, and then I learned that like even people would say like Justin Timberlake, and I'm like, this isn't really beatboxing, but it's like there's elements of it. And but there was no like competitions. There was competitions going on out here. There was this one guy, his name was, I think, Rocks or Loops, and he used to beatbox out in like Finland or Sweden or something like that, or somewhere in Europe. And they had competitions out there, which I used to watch and think, damn, why don't we got that over here? And then I stopped doing that more so and started doing beat production and learning how to write and kind of getting my flow with that. And then that's like 10 years later, whatever, in my mid-20s, I'm just like, whoa, there's a whole circuit of this I didn't even realize.
Yeah, and do you still do it? Because right now there are huge events and competitions with like a loop station and sort of.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it. I mean, I could still do it, but it doesn't. It just, I don't know. There's something about it where it would take a lot of time to invest back into it, and I'm kind of invested in the writing and stuff. And
Of course,
the beatboxing is like it takes a lot of practice just as much as battling or writing or whatever, breakdancing, however you want to put it,
for sure.
whatever element. So it just feels like, and there's people who have been doing this now for the past 10 years that are so developed. I would be
Mm.
like so behind, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. And well, let's get into battle rap. But first of all, I would like to know if you remember the first battle you watched.
It had to have been something on Don't Flop or either Don't Flop or Grind Time. It was one of those two.
Hmm. And do you
I don't
remember
know.
which one in particular or not?
No, I just because it's kind of like a blurry sort of area, you
Yeah.
know, where it's like I just watched a lot of them, and I watched a lot of SoulCon back in the day, so it
Mm.
would be like that's what I would say the first battle probably was, but um, I mean, I would there was like Scribble Jams I would watch mainly
Mm.
because I listened to Idea a lot, and I liked Idea as a rapper. Didn't realize he was a battler, and then
Mm.
would watch the Idea battles and be like, "Yo, this guy's crazy," and
Mm.
then it just kind of naturally segued into watching battle because my brother was watching battles already. Don't Flop specifically in Grind Time who were out. It's like 2010,
Mm.
2011,
Mm.
and yeah, he was just showing stuff. So depending on what it was, it could have been any of them, you know, that
Yeah.
were doing it on each side. And so, but I just used to watch a lot of SoCon back in the day was the
Mm.
thing. So that's what I would think was probably like the first battle I watched at some point.
Mm. And back then, did you have already this idea to get into battle rap, or it was just like as a fan?
No, not at all. Like I was, because at that point I didn't, battling took a different type of like grit that I didn't understand. And
Mm.
there was just, you know, I didn't feel confident as a writer yet. I was still like, you know, I was more confident in making music because I was more attached to it at the time. And writing was something I was trying to learn how to do
Mm.
still in ways where I was like, all right, I don't know if I could say these things. And, you know, that wouldn't even be until like years later where I figure out that it's like, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it, at least, you know, to this extent, or this is how I'm going to do it.
Hmm. And let's go right into it. So, how did you get into battle rap?
My brother, actually, we went to a bunker event. We went to a couple of them, actually.
Hmm.
And he met a couple people there that, you know, he just pretty much straight up asked them, hey, where can I battle? And they gave him names. And that, you know, brought us down to San Diego where he was battling. It took us up to the north in San Jose where he was battling. And then eventually I just thought, I'm going to do this, and he was the one that pushed me to do it because I would give him, you know, advice or like, you know, tell him, oh, you should say this or this. And he was like, well, you should just do it. And I thought, all right, let's do it then.
Hmm. And that
And
was
then, you know,
in 2017. You had your first battle, if I'm not
correct,
mistaken. Yeah,
correct.
against Rosary, if
Hmm.
that's the name. Yeah. How was that battle for you?
Oh man, like, that was a trip.
Hmm.
It was a weird experience, man. Like the way that it played out. I don't know, just from the way that we did our intros
Hmm.
because we're the first battle of the night. We're a tryout battle on top of that, so it doesn't for a lot of people it doesn't register that this is going to matter
Hmm.
in any sort of way. And like I think even for the night it didn't, but I made an impact to where it did. Um, you know, people were more excited to see other battles, but the fact that I did the battles stuck in people's minds so well throughout the night says a lot for that. And that's what got me hyped to do my next battle. But it was crazy, man. Like I went in there and I started doing my intro and I fucked it up. You know,
Hmm.
I think I said I didn't even say my name and I said things wrong and then the lights went out and we had to go outside for like 5 minutes so they can get everything back up and going and set everything back up. And I was talking outside with one of the battlers. His name is Sabanik. He just goes by Sab, but he's out here in Southern California. And he came up to me. Never met this guy before.
Hmm.
I'd seen him battle, but I never met him really. And he comes up to me and he goes, like, hey, yo, people don't really get a second chance to do this, man. So you better not go in there and like fuck up your intro again. Go
Hmm.
go in there and do this how you're supposed to. And I was like, all right. And then I went in there and, you know, the first battle plays out how it does. And I didn't expect that it would get that much reaction. The way I was penning it, I thought, okay, at the time when I'm writing it down, this is gonna be dope. At least I'll get some reaction. But the fact it played out that way is like, oh man, I got to keep going.
Hmm.
That was the feeling I got. And then I went outside after the battle and I threw up because I was very nervous and like just full of adrenaline, didn't know how to handle it. And then I talked to some people and it's like, all right, now I'm here.
There you go. And and actually, I wanted to ask you, do you remember who was the host during your first battle?
Oh yeah, Mega. Shout out
Mega.
Mega. Let's go, man.
Shout out to Mega, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, what's dope about him,
He's
man, is
hilarious.
he's hilarious, bro. He's kind of just a passionate dude, man. Like in a lot of ways too. So and he treated me and my brother like family. Like before I was battling, I would show up to watch my brother's battles, and he was just there. Him and another person that was like running from the gate and CRS down in San Diego at the time. They were trying to do a thing, and it just ended up being what it was. And it's cool to see that he's still around because he's always treated me like a cousin or something. Like anytime I show up, it's all love. It's never any like bullshit with him. So it's always fun to see him. And he's had battles this year where I've seen him too. So I'm like, fire, let's keep it going, man. Shout out Mega for sure.
Shout out to Mega. Shout out to Mega One. Yeah, that was funny though to watch that battle and realize that Mega One was the host.
Yeah, yeah, because he like I said, he was doing his whole thing down there with Power and Respect down in San Diego, and he had worked with my brother already, and my brother told him pretty much it was like, yo, like my brother wants to have his first battle, like how do we do this? And they set it up like that, and Rosary was his boy at the time, or still is. So like they were cool, and Rosary was doing his thing. He had a couple battles that he still needed to work on things, and this is my first battle, so we'll see how this plays out. And it ended up being crazy in that way.
Yeah, there you go. And well, I wanted to ask you about your writing process because your creativity is like incredible, man. I think
Thank
you
you.
are very, very super creative. You always think and you always do something outside the box completely. So I wanted to ask you this: how your writing process has changed since that first battle to the last battle you had?
That's an interesting question. Because like my last battle felt kind of like in the vein of what my first battle felt like, and I've had moments like that throughout my career where I think, yeah, this is why I have to keep going, because I can almost keep recreating these moments in their own way. And my first battle, when I was writing for it, I was in a place in life where it's all I had to write. All I had was to write. This is all I'm going to do. This is all I'm going to devote whatever time I have to this and make this, even though I didn't know the extent of what battle rap was. And there was still a lot I had to learn. And eventually, I'll get it. But this last battle, I just knew a lot going into it. Just I know now kind of the landscape of battle rap, and everyone has their own opinions on how certain things should go. But there's an IQ that you can hold. Like you have an entire podcast devoted to this. So if I were to bring up something about like leagues down in your side where you're at and shit, like I would even have to start learning about that. There's like the UK scene, everything. There's certain things where it keeps unfolding. So, but at the point of my last battle, I feel like I had a good understanding of my landscape where I'm at over here. And whereas when I've had my first battle, it didn't feel that way necessarily. Like I didn't understand what I was walking into, but that's what felt more exciting to me. And like what I'm about to show everybody. Let's hope it works. Because if I would have went in there and flopped, I never would have battled again.
Exactly.
And now if I like go in there and have a bad battle, which my whole goal is to never have a bad battle, is I wouldn't stop now.
And how do you address your rounds, for instance? What are your ideas in order to battle against someone? Like, what is the first thing that you think, or how long does it take you from scratch to write to someone?
From scratch, yeah, because
Yeah.
you write from scratch, I imagine too, right? When you write your shit,
Hmm.
like there's a level of um, just there's certain things that you know to talk about already, like name flips.
Yeah.
Like automatically, I'm trying to write certain name flips, and sometimes it's in a wordplay sort of way. Sometimes it's for the context of whatever I'm talking about, the concept that I'm bringing up, or the angle that I'm trying to use, and
Hmm.
then it starts to just kind of grow from there. I like certain rhyme patterns, and sometimes when I write out a rhyme pattern, there's a bar within that leads to what I'm saying, and
Hmm.
I try to think about it like more consciously when
Hmm.
I'm writing things. Like I don't just like to rhyme anything with anything, and
Hmm.
that's something that I think people give me a lot of flack for, is being a lyrical miracle sort of rapper, which I guess to an extent I am, just because I use a lot of syllables, and the way I see the time of it and how I want to put everything together, it tends to be that way. But there's also things where it's like, no, this fits perfectly. I need to use this, and it just kind of stacks on top of itself eventually. I don't
Hmm.
write straight through anything.
Hmm.
That's one thing I don't ever really do. It's like a puzzle piece, or like puzzle pieces to an entire picture sort of thing for me.
Hmm. Well, since you were talking about name flips, let's talk about your battle against Fate, because that was
Mm.
fire, man. I was
Thank
looking
you,
at it
man.
like, what the fuck, man? And he keeps going and going. Like,
Hmm.
how did you come up with that?
So with that one I was inspired by somebody who had done it in a similar fashion,
Hmm.
but to me, when I watched it, because I liked it when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm laughing, and but I thought at the end of it, because I watched it multiple times,
Hmm.
I thought at the end of it, nah, man, there's a way to do this, but better. There's a way to do this where I can have something that means something at the end
Hmm.
of it,
Yeah.
and so that's I did, and that was one thing I wanted to keep in mind when I was doing it, is don't write out like every single. There's a lot of fate flips that I just took out. It didn't make sense to have it there.
I
I wanted
imagine.
to keep it very like boom boom, say all the ones that matter, and then say why you did it at the very end. And that
Yeah.
that was like where the show fate stands for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Like customized or tailored.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that's I forget where I saw it at, but there was a interview from somebody where they said that like when you have a punch, it people punch all the time, but being direct is the biggest thing here, and not enough people are direct nowadays. So if I'm gonna do a bunch of fate flips, I'm gonna make sure that punch at the very end is direct, even
Hmm.
though I'm punching within it in its own way. It's saying things that you can kind of interpret, but at the very end, I need to have something that connects all of that to why I even did it.
Hmm. Exactly. And one of the most interesting things about you, in my opinion, is that you sometimes like you choose an angle and you hit it and hit it and hit it and hit that like in different ways, and it's so amazing to see how creative you are. So um did you watch someone doing that, like, or did you admire some other cat doing that before you?
And that's for like the whole like I watched a lot of SoulCon because it
Yeah.
just seems like he was always angling, or he always was talking something that was right there. For all the like gay jokes that he used, he also worked like certain angles in that
Hmm.
just went against your character. And I always thought that was like, R.I.P. Pat Stay, same thing, man. He had
Exactly.
this way of just finding an angle and working the shit out of it to where it's like it makes you look like less of a person. And I always thought
Hmm.
that's an essence of battle rap that, I mean, even Geechee does it. I like Geechee a lot
Hmm.
for that reason. He finds an angle and he really like puts you in a corner with it. Really just like says what he's got to say about it. And I don't know. There's something to the essence of hip hop for me that sometimes, how they say it's like, if you don't rap, it doesn't mean it's not real. It don't
Hmm.
gotta be real to rap, or it don't gotta rap to be real.
Hmm.
Like, or when it's real, it don't gotta rap, or whatever.
Hmm.
However you want to look at that. But that's that essence that I like for a
Hmm.
lot of it. And so I wouldn't say that I just you know take away from everything and just do those exact things. I emulate, and I try to be those things in my own way, because I have my own thoughts. I have my own opinions. I have ways that I want to talk about certain things. And, you know, there's lines to be crossed, which I've learned that too. So there's like just certain things I've just learned how to do over the years to make sure that I say the thing how I mean it and people feel it.
There you go. Dope. And I wanted to ask you also about your own battles. I would like to know your favorite one from your battles.
I don't know if I have one. Like, because I have like moments more so than I have favorite battles, you know? Moments from battles that like I live in, you know? And even, you know, there's some of my battles that I've had that have never been dropped. And those are some of my favorite battles just because of the moments that have happened in them, though. So, I mean, I could just run down the recent list. Madman Leak, Billy Boondocks, Fate. Who else? Soto. You know, Profane didn't drop, but that's one of my favorite battles just because of what happened in the battle itself. And another one of those moments where I feel like I had the same reaction and the same kind of thing that happened with my very first battle. Something I didn't expect, but it ended up shutting the building down in a lot of ways. So I'm like, okay, this one. You know, there's older battles that I have too that I still like. Me versus Red Bangs is great. Yeah, man, I don't know. There's a lot, you know.
Okay. Yeah, of course. And let's go right into the next event, so Loteria. But first, I would like to ask you the following thing: do you watch battles in Spanish?
I try to. I gotta throw the captions on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets too complex. So, do you know anything about some of the cats that are going to be in Loteria, but Spanish? From Spanish-speaking countries, in this case, Mexico, right?
I do know about Eptos. I forget where I saw him. I saw him though.
You
Oh no, it was
were
at the last iEvolve event.
yeah, against Cali, right? But you were
Correct.
at that event in iEvolve TV,
Correct.
of course. Yeah. And how was
Yeah.
that
Correct.
experience for you?
He's got an intensity, bro. Like that's something that I like that Epic does is he looks out for the Spanish leagues in that way, you know? There's been a couple of leagues down here. Punchline Kings was kind of the same way. They haven't been active for a few years, but you know, they come back. I imagine it's like a cross of everything. They got to represent. And so I see that there's like, it's exposing me to certain things where I'm like, oh man, this is like how it is here, but it has its own feel to it, you know? And Eptos kind of brought that intensity when he did that.
Yeah.
The way that he did that night, like, and that's I don't typically if I see a battle live, I don't really watch it back. I don't know. I'm just a lot going on and stuff. But what I remember from that night was Eptos being very like aware of the situation, you know? There's because he could have came and just done a bunch of just I can write this for anybody, you know, but he's addressing what like he's here. I'm from Mexico. I have all these like things that I'm bringing to this stage now, and all the things that I've accomplished like brought me here. I don't know. There was that intensity to it.
Exactly.
And then Cali is intense in his own way, the way he story tells and angles and stuff. So there was a meeting of the minds, I think, in that way. You know, and him going against Arsenal is, you know, Arsenal's got a mind of his own, man. Like the way that he just comes up with stuff. You want to talk creativity, man? Just the things that he'll say off the wall. So this is this feels like a great just exchange.
For sure. And well, since we are talking about Eptos versus Arsenal, so can you tell the audience what can we expect from Arsenal? Because of course I know, but the audience may not. So that will be very, very intense.
I'm gonna just expect a lot of racism in this battle, bro.
Right away, yeah.
Right away, man. And that's fine. It's cool. We're all gonna laugh, but that's it. And I don't. That's where I love it, man. Because this is another. It's like a character thing. Like Eptos, I don't even know what bag he's gonna try to get in, which is dope to me.
Hmm.
He's gonna, if he comes with that disrespect the same exact way that Arsenal does, this becomes a very heated match.
Hmm.
The disrespect clearly Arsenal is gonna bring, which whatever he wants to say, he's got like a really dope way of rhyming. So there's just, you're gonna expect good rapping between the both of them. I think is what we're gonna get here, and then it being the main event, there's gonna just be an elevated level of excitement.
Exactly, for sure. Yeah, that's gonna be something. And the other one, we were talking a little bit about it. Danny Myers against Juan Zarate. What can we expect from Danny? Because Danny is a freaking legend. So
Yeah. Well, and so when I look at battles, it's like, why are we putting these two guys together? Like the last one, they're kind of characters in their own way. So let's see how these characters kind of clash. They have something to say. With Danny Myers, it's bar god. So you're going to get a lot of crazy punches. He's going to have some crazy wordplay. He's going to have good name flips. It's going to be good rapping. And if that's the case for Juan Zarate, then, we have kind of a mix of like who can rap better, who has better bars.
exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. I've never even heard of one. So and that's no disrespect. I've never, delved into that. So
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't know, but that's, looking at the matchup, I'd have to guess that's the case here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I believe that Juan, because, well, we have seen his battles and he's a beast. And for me, his style is very, very similar to Danny's style. So that will be it. Yeah. It's like who rhymes better and who is more creative with bars. Yeah, because his style also translates better to English. And the other thing is that Juan never had an English battle before. So it's going to be his first one. And also, if I'm not mistaken, English is also his native language. So even
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. See, so if that's the case, see, and I love to learn these things, because now it's like, what does Danny come with to because that's the thing too, is Danny's not afraid to take an angle and work with it. He don't necessarily just drive it into the ground, but he takes something and he makes it a point to say. And I wonder, like, so does Juan do that too?
Yeah.
Like, does he angle?
Yeah, of course. And the way that he's like making wordplays is very, very similar, I would say, to Danny's style. So yeah, and they both they have charisma. They are both funny. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Danny does have a certain charisma that just kind of takes over a room. So if Juan has the same thing, then it's again another meeting of the minds.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Huge clash.
Yeah, see, Epic planned this like very meticulously.
Yeah,
if that's the case. That's really good.
Shout out to him as well. Shout out to Epic and to Eyeball TV for giving us this card. And the other one I wanted to talk about is Denter against Cortez. And first of all, do you know anything about Denter? Because Denter has a whole career in English as well.
Yeah, so I know about Denter from being down here. I'm pretty sure I've seen him live at least once or twice. Like way back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I was just kind of starting to do this. And I think I'd seen him. I can't remember who. I could even look it up on Burst Tracker real quick. I know I've seen him down here before, or at least seen him on cards. I want to say I've seen him though.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a staple over here, so that's really, I think, what helps. And Cortez clearly a staple. He's been around. Oh, I didn't know he's been doing battles down there, right? Down in Mexico. It's fire. Yeah, I think I saw him versus Despot. I have. I watched him versus Carter Deems at one point.
Yeah. That one.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I watched him versus Urban. I've seen him versus Young B. So I've only seen him battle once, but I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And, well, what can we expect from Cortez? I already interviewed him, and I know him pretty well because he's a freaking legend as well. But maybe the audience don't know much about him.
Cortez is he's just a real talk kind of guy. He's just gonna go in there. It's like what I feel is like his business as usual for him. And in my opinion, I feel like even though Denter clearly has like accomplishments and accolades, things of that nature, this is still another thing that he's got to like overcome and, rise to the occasion sort of thing. And Cortez, as long as he doesn't treat it like it's just nothing, then this ends up being a clash. I don't think he's going to. I'm just saying that, there's people who get into a position and then they feel like they don't have to do much and then they get washed, and I don't, as far as I'm concerned, Cortez doesn't do that, but it could happen that way. And then same thing with Denter. If he doesn't come in here and end up being what he needs to be and rise to the occasion, he's going to get washed. So there's a lot, I think, on the line for both of them in that way.
Exactly. No, and they both are aware of that, for sure. I already interviewed both of them, and they know that this is going to be huge, and the impact that it's going to have in the crossover for the Latin community as well. So they are fully prepared for this. It's going to be a huge match.
And that's where, like, Cortez, he's really good at the real talk, So he'll be able to address that in a way where we all feel it. And it's like, yeah, talk that shit. And with Denter, it's like if he might have to, like, we might want him to do the same thing. It's going to be the story he decides to tell that helps him rise to the occasion. And not to say that neither of them have more bars than one or the other, but the bars need to be on point from both of them.
Exactly.
For like 1-to-1 pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's going to be a hell of a match as well. So let's go with the other one I wanted to talk about is Il Máscaras against Loso. So what can we expect from that battle from your point of view?
Why do I feel like I've seen Il Máscaras. I think he battled on Punchline Kings, if I'm not mistaken.
If I'm not mistaken as well, yeah, maybe, because I don't remember exactly. But
I just remember a gentleman in a luchador mask.
Yeah,
battling.
Yeah,
it had to have been him.
He's
all right,
so he's like he's
it
not like a human being battling. He's like an idea battling. So it's really difficult to battle against someone that you cannot even see his face. Like,
what are you supposed to say? And and that's where Loso is really good at, like, unmasking things. He's another great angler. He knows how to, like, take a point and expand it and make it into something. And that's, if you're gonna do anything against an idea, you want somebody that can do that with an idea. So and Loso is crazy, man. Like, I don't know. Anybody who doubts Loso, to me, is wild, because there's just a lot of, like, elements that he brings to the table, man. Like, he's got good writing. He raps crazy. His cadences and patterns are wild, and that's just on the technical side of it. What, like, the topics he gets on, the whole Christian sort of thing. It I don't know. It adds up. Like, El Mascaras, I gotta see if I've seen him before, bro.
And also that thing that you said about Loso being Christian, that's also part of the battle, because Il Mascaras is very close to his indigenous roots. So it's going to be a clash of ideas as well in terms of religion. Yeah.
See, again, epic with the let's see how these ideas clash, man. That's crazy.
Exactly.
See, that's on the level of, like, who did he battle? Did he battle Loso in that battle? But I think it was Beat Out versus Loso, right?
I don't remember.
I think it might have been. I think it was Loso versus Beat Out. It was like Christianity versus.
Yeah, he battled Beat Out.
Yeah. So however they named that, right? LA Battlegrounds. I think it was what it was on. But if that's the case, this has a very similar idea.
Exactly.
Very connected in that way.
Yeah. And, well, let's go with the other one, which is Johnny Storm against 6 syllables. First of all, do you know 6 syllables?
I do not.
Wow.
Again,
you
I'm
have
really
to
not, like,
listen to his music, because he has only 2 battles against Denter and Dr. Zero. But he's not a battle rapper. He's an MC. In fact, he has featurings with Conway the Machine, and also with Capadonna, with Wu-Tang Clan from Wu-Tang.
No shit.
Yeah, so you have to listen to his music, man. He's a real MC. And it's interesting because Johnny Storm is also a legend from, Grind Time, and before that as well, freestyling. So what can you tell the audience about Johnny Storm?
I mean, besides what you just said,
Hmm.
I'm not too familiar with him. I don't really know his career like that. I just
Wow.
know, yeah, he's been around since grind time,
Yeah.
and I've seen him battle a couple of times. I think he was in King of the Dot season 1
Hmm.
when it happened a couple of years ago. Um, but outside of that, I don't really know too much about him.
Wow. So you are going to see it right there in
Yeah,
live. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Since
and I
since
like watching battles like that a lot of
2008.
the time.
He has been battled since 2008, so pretty long time. More than 100 battles, even according to him, like 200 for sure. So it's nuts. And the other one, what we were talking about, Cali's move about against EJ Power.
Yeah,
That one is weird, right?
it's a little strange. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
What they're out in the Philippines, right? The
yeah,
flip top.
exactly. From Flip Top.
So, and that's I think that's with this card and what it is, it ends up being just a melting pot of
Mm.
everybody from every different place that you can imagine. I'm surprised we're not seeing more Canadian people. Maybe it's just where we're at right now. Maybe we decided to focus on this side of the world as opposed to up this way. But
Yeah,
there's I don't know. I'm not familiar with anybody at Flip Top either. Flip
yeah,
Top is a
me
crazy
either.
one. So, but they have a huge following out there, and
Yeah, those
I couldn't
numbers are
imagine
crazy.
you absolutely insane on the
Yeah,
level of like oxymoron.
exactly.
And I imagine with EJ Power, there's a definite like draw or pull to putting him up against someone like Cali Smooth, who
Mm.
just won the 50K tournament for Bags and Bodies.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, it's been a factor in battle rap, but now with the elevated status, has eyes and ears on him and stuff of that nature. So
mm.
putting him against somebody who has that same draw and pull, I think ends up being just a really big, like high profile battle.
Yeah, yeah. That could be it. Well, and shout out to Cali because Cali is a huge guy and also very, very talented. It's insane how,
Facts.
yeah, and he writes like very, very fast. I know for sure when we were talking about it because it was the very first interview on my channel, and he told me that for one battle, he can write a whole battle in just one afternoon, like
Yeah,
with
I
no
believe
doubt.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's I mean, even for me, I couldn't even do that.
Mm.
Again, I don't even write all the way through. And there's people who are built different, but this guy, went through the Bags and Bodies and won it. And you watch those episodes and you see how, that the way his writing is and the way
Mm.
that he's able to put things together. It's just one of those things where some things work, some things don't, but it seems like a lot more things are working now that he has an understanding of like how to do the process even more. It's like he learned something from Bags and Bodies and has taken what he's always known, but like applied it in a way bigger way.
Hmm.
And like I'm very curious to say what he has to say to EJ Power. That's
Exactly.
gonna be like I couldn't even imagine what he's gonna say.
Yeah. And also very interesting fact, he wrote 3 books already, so what the fuck,
Christ.
man?
Yeah, his mind is just working differently, and
Yeah.
that's yeah. EJ Power. I'm not necessarily. I mean, I'm looking at the card, and he's like holding a camera in his hand and some handcuffs. It looks like,
Hmm.
and but he's got this look of like I went to technology school or whatever, and so I'm curious if he's like an influencer in that way as well.
We're
If
about
it
to
ends
see
up
it.
becoming
Yeah.
a thing, or boom. Because I'm familiar with Cali Smooth. I'm not with EJ,
EJ.
so I'm just like, all right, how does this play out?
Yeah. Well, we're about to know that. In fact, I'm going to interview both of them. So shout out to EJ and to Cali. After the event, we are going to talk about the whole event as well.
Oh,
And
fire!
yeah, and I wanted to talk about something else because it's very important. It's your battle
Let's
against
go.
Saint. Yeah. So first of all, please tell the audience about Saint because many of them don't know anything about him.
Saint, Mr. Money Well Spent, YTG, death certificate, all that. He's he's a cool kid.
Just a cool kid. Yeah.
He's a cool kid, man.
Just
He
that.
raps well. He's got great cadence, I suppose. I don't
Hmm.
know. He's only got one style of rhyming, but
Hmm.
it's in rapping, which is cool, man. Like it's afforded him 50K. which he
Exactly.
doesn't have anymore. So I guess, you know, it's a give and take with Saint. It really is. It depends on how he feels he wants to battle. That's my opinion.
Okay, okay. But you cannot sleep on him, man.
No. No one's sleeping on Saint. I mean, he's battled Disaster. He's battled Marv
Exactly.
1 very specifically and got past two legends. Battled Real Deal. Battled, you know, nationwide at this point. Again, won the 50K. So there's no sleeping on Saint. He's definitely a factor to be considered. So that's, you know, that's where I leave it with him. He's
And
got a lot of following and support for that reason.
for sure. And how did you get into this battle? Like, who came up with this idea? Also Epic, I believe.
Yeah, Epic just hit me up pretty much, and you know, it was in the midst of the virality and stuff, and you know, people told me to capitalize, and I thought, all right, this feels like a move to be capitalized upon, at least to establish that I am on this level of writers and I need to be here. And you know, people were mad at me for taking the battle afterward, thinking I should have taken something bigger and better. And I thought, you're right,
Really?
but yeah, you're right, but you know, there's like obligations, and in the midst of all the viral stuff, I got kind of caught up and thought, yeah, no, this makes sense. My mindset still being in the way of like take a battle like of a higher level up to you, and you know, prove that you're up here too. And I could have done that with a lot of different names, but with Saint, it just ended up being what was thrown on the table, and I thought, yeah, this at least makes sense for now.
There you go. Yeah, and we are going to have Saint as well on the channel, so
Fire.
yeah, be prepared. And
I'm tuned in for that. He's probably gonna talk way more shit than me, which is cool. Let him. It's cool. Like talk all your shit, Saint. It's good. It's good. You'll see it's different, man. That's the thing I think why I took this too, because it's similar in the Fate battle to me, where I battled Fate because I thought to myself, no, I'm meant to battle people of this caliber. And with Saint, you know, when that name came across my table, I was like, all right, yep, this is another name that is on the level of Fate. And they've already battled too. It was a great battle. Fate 3-0. But either way, it was a good battle to watch. It showed where they were at with like, you know, on each other's level. It's like they're both going to grow and do what they got to do and stuff. And for me, it's like I always, maybe I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder for having done this so long and still having to prove things. And I should have been battling people like this earlier, but I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like if I'm getting this opportunity now, these opportunities now, this is to show the thing I've been feeling for the past 6 years. And now I can prove that. So, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to doubt me just because of what Saint has accomplished and has done. You know, he started out pretty much on King of the Dot within his first like 5 or 6 battles. That's pretty, you know, battle Geechee. I've been following his career since Geechee. So I kind of know the moves that he's made, and I've seen him behind the scenes, and I'm not going to walk out into this battle and expose him in any sort of crazy way, but I know how to break him down. And that's where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep on him. I'm not sleeping on him because I know these things. You know, I haven't been sleeping on his career since pretty much he started.
for
You know,
sure.
call me a fan if that's the case, but nah, I just, you know, you gotta be a fan, but you gotta also know that you could be in the ring with anybody at any one point, and so anything you've accrued up here, use that to your advantage.
Exactly. And well, so the audience can know you better as well. What can we expect from you on this battle? What are we going to see?
With Saint,
Yeah.
let me think about that, because I got to figure out how to word that without spoiling too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, because I want to tell you like the process and where I'm at with it, and I kind of maybe did with, you know, how I've known this guy for. I haven't like known him, but I've been around. I've seen battles of his. I've seen him battle live multiple times. I've watched his battles when they've dropped. So, and this is just over the years. Never me thinking I'm going to battle him. So when I do, I just have all this knowledge or opinion, and you're going to expect to hear me speak my mind. And that's going to be from, you know, what I know about him and the things that I know about him and what he is and what I think he is. And then you're also going to hear me speak my mind about like the things that have been going on with me for the past couple of months. And, you know, I mean, this could be a spoiler, but I'm figuring out a way to like minimize the time where I talk about my entire just run in this and how it equates to Saint, you know, and
Okay.
that's something that I don't think a lot of people do enough, where it's like the directness comes from directly comparing
Hmm.
and showing where things fall apart
Hmm.
here, you know, and that's something that I think I've always done, but I'm intending to do a lot more this time around
Hmm.
to show why I deserve to be here and why I should have been here for a long time, and why we give these opportunities to kids that are just gonna fumble the bag and not understand the opportunity that they have in front of them.
Hmm. There you go. Dope. Dope, man. I wish you the best for that. And well, I would like to talk about other thing right now because I would like to know about your dream battles. Like, who would you like to battle next after Saint, or if you can choose any battle cat.
You know, I don't have I have a battle coming up afterward too against Royalty
Hmm.
on CRS, and that's I'll be main eventing that one, so I have to like think about what I'm going to talk about for that one.
Hmm.
Not necessarily a dream battle, but a battle that also in the same line of what it is to Saint. I couldn't have dreamed that I was going to have these battles,
Hmm.
so or wouldn't have. So I tend not to even think beyond that in
Hmm.
ways, but if I were to, I guess, throw names out there, Iron Solomon would be crazy.
Hmm. Or the one.
Uh, I mean, just to see how this style clashes out, but Rum Nitty would be absolutely insane to me.
Hmm. For
You know,
sure.
everyone wants to battle Rum Nitty, but
Yeah.
you know, I just feel like my style versus his would be very very interesting.
Hmm.
So, you know, dream battles. You know, there's not too many people. I would have wanted to battle on stages like RBE,
Hmm.
but I don't want to battle someone like Big K. He's not on my radar. He's just somebody I watch, you know. I
Hmm.
would never keep him on my radar. I
Hmm.
also don't want to get blocked, so please don't block me. I just I had to think about those. I would battle someone like maybe A Ward
Hmm.
or A Verb.
And Ilmac, for instance.
I would battle Ilmac.
Yeah.
I'd be curious, you know, that'd be him giving a really big shot, but that's a dream battle for me too in that way, I guess.
Yeah.
Thesaurus, I'm not afraid to battle the legends now at this point, and I
Hmm.
think that's, you know, this whole viral thing that's been happening. It's still happening. It's still getting likes, and I'm still getting followers, and it still keeps getting viewed and shared, and celebrities are seeing it, and certain people are reaching out to me. It's kind of crazy. So it
Hmm.
makes me think that I why stop at the lowest bar, you
Hmm.
know?
There you go. There you go. And well, to go to the end of the interview, I would like to know a few more things. And one of those is, what can we expect from you in the near future? Maybe the end of the year, or even maybe the next year. What is going to be your future?
So right now, I'm working on trying to get some merch out.
Hmm?
I got a good design.
Good one.
My boy X Davis worked on it, and I think it's gonna work. So getting some merch out. I have songs that I just need to record,
Hmm.
but once I get them recorded, just throwing them up on anything I can, get that out there. The thing is that people have been telling me they want more content from me, and that's the case, then it's just transitioning from not only doing battles but doing other things. And
Hmm.
you know, I have the other battle at the end of the year against Royalty,
Yep.
which I have to, you know, take serious and get into that too. And then, you know, chill for the rest of the year, maybe even a couple months into the year.
Hmm.
Any battle that I take after these next two battles is going to be something that needs to matter to me and needs to matter for not just like personal reasons. It matters to me. Like, that's why I'll care about the battle, but matters to me in terms of growing my brand and getting me more out there and
Hmm.
putting whatever message I got to put out there. And then, you know, other things like just making more merch, figuring out how to get a website set up, just
Hmm.
things of those nature, you know.
Dope. 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 Okay, and so to end this interview, I have the two last questions, and it's about your favorite battle cats and your favorite rappers. So let's go first with the top five, your own personal favorite battle rappers, and
Battle
with
rappers.
no order. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rum Nitty, Pat Stay,
Hmm.
Twerk, Fresco,
Hmm.
and I'll give a recent one right now, but Frack.
Frack. There you go. There you go. And let's go with the last one. Top 5 again, but now with rappers. Or it could be groups as well, like a whole crew.
I think I can give this one kind of easily.
Okay.
Maybe. Mac Miller,
Hmm.
Kendrick Lamar, and I guess like he's not like a rapper, but The Weeknd.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think rappers because I don't listen to a lot of rap as much as you would think. I listen to a lot of D&B and like pop punk and stuff. Lately, I've been listening to rap, but it hasn't got me back into the way. So I'm thinking of the people along the way.
Hmm.
Mac Miller, Kendrick, The Weeknd. I'll throw Biggie in there because I still listen to him a lot.
For sure.
And Eminem.
And Eminem.
We're just gonna go off peer influence and stuff. I don't listen. I listened to him recently, and thought, okay, cool. So I just ran through his hits, and I was like, this is fire. This is what I like. But then it's just like a mode, and then I kind of forget about it for a year or two, then I go back to it. But just for sake of influence, I'll give that.
There you go. Naturally. And well, last words for the audience, my man.
Stay tuned. I ain't stopping now. You could find me on Instagram, JAQ_. Twitter, Jack with a Q _. Facebook, Jack Yeah. What am I on? I don't know what I'm on TikTok. I think it's Hippie Jack.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not going to leave all the links in the description as well, so you can follow Jack as well. And well,
yeah.
It was a honor to meet you, man. Great pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I hope to see you maybe after the event as well.
Hell yeah, man. I'm down to recap the event and see how it goes.
There you go. Okay, so stay tuned because we have more interviews in Spanish, English, Italian, Portuguese, and even in Russian. So see you next time. Bye-bye, my man.
Let's go. Later, mate.